Hey, we're stuck inside and not quarantined, but just inside with all this coronavirus business. So we were supposed to do this project for a women's with a women's group, and all these hymn books from our church that need repairing, and we were going to do it all together, but obviously that's not working out with COVID-19. So I thought I'd do a quick video and show you how to do some of the repairs in case anyone ever wanted to do this. So this hymn book it's pretty beat up. There's several repairs that needed. One is the spine itself is torn and worn, and the hinge is broken, and the book block is come released from this. So I will show you how to do a very sturdy repair with this, and it could work for any book that has a hinge broken. So let me get those pieces and I'll show you. Okay, so first we actually need to remove this piece here, and all I'll do is cut right along here as close to the edge as possible and remove that. Okay, so now I have removed that, and we're going to save this. We will need this later, and I will show you how to reattach that later after the glue is dry. So now what we're going to do is we're going to put some glue right here, and I am using this pH neutral PVA glue, which is really nice because it doesn't yellow, and it's acid free. So we're going to glue this. I just use a long paintbrush here and put some glue right along here, sorry. And then I will press this once I have all the glue and hold this down and get this nice and sturdy. Okay, so I've glued that on. That is nice and secure, and it is not fully dry yet, but it is drying. And now I've taken a small strip of wax paper, and I'm going to place it right here to prevent this from sticking, because we don't want the spine to stick to the book block. So, and then I've made this piece. This is the essential piece for making this a secure repair. And all it is two pieces. It's a piece of cardstock about 2 inches wide and 8.5 inches long, and it's sewn together with there's two pieces sewn together right down the center, long straight stitch. And what we're going to do is we need to fold it so that it is able to manipulate around the hinge itself. So I will show you here. And what we're going to do now, okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take this piece, and we have one side we're going to glue to right here, this side, and one side we're going to glue to the spine part. So we're going to put glue, paint glue, onto these two sides. Then we're going to attach it here, and then I'll show you the next step. Okay, so I just finished putting glue on these two sides. And now I'm going to secure it onto the spine here and make sure it is flush with the corner here, and press that on securely right here. And then I'm going to do the same up here. So, and see, there's some excess glue here. We want to wipe that off. We don't want that. Rag is nice to have handy, a damp rag. All right, so we're gonna press that, make sure it's on there nice and securely, nothing is slipping off. Okay, next we're gonna get another piece of wax paper and put it right here to keep any remnants of glue from sticking. So we have this, sorry, I'm not a very good cameraman. We have this piece of wax paper and this piece of wax paper. So now we have these two pieces. This piece we're going to fold back towards the spine, and this piece we are going to put glue on this side, and we are going to attach it to the front cover, like like this. So we're going to put glue right here on this side. We're going to bring this up and attach it like this. And then we're going to close it and put some rubber bands around it. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And I use a scrap piece of paper to put underneath it so I don't get glue elsewhere. And I'm going to paint this. Why is it so fuzzy? I'm going to paint this side. And then I'll show you what it looks like in a second. Okay, so now I've attached it here. You can see it's attached right here. And I'm going to make sure it's nice and firm and straight. And then I'm going to keep my wax paper in place. I'm going to close it, make sure it's nice and tight. And then I'm going to put these rubber bands around it. So it looks like this. And then I'm going to let it dry overnight. And then I will reattach the front page. And I will show you how to do that next. Okay, so this one is dry, and this one, the back hinge was broken. So you can see it's nice and dry. I'm going to take out the wax paper and pull this wax paper out of the spine, and we're good to go. So I need to reattach this piece here. So I'm going to trim this. See, there's some excess folded bits of paper right there. I'm going to trim that so it's nice and straight. And then I'm going to take it goes this way on the back. I'm going to take some, you can use tape if you have tape, a good strong tape that's acid free, or I'm going to use a repair sticker that matches this. So I'm going to actually attach it on this side right here. For those of you who recognize this hymn book, our church sells this hymn book repair kit, but all it is, they are just these stickers. So it's a minimal repair. So I'll show you how I do this. So I'm just going to take one of these stickers, and I'm going to place it right here. So if you have just a minor damaged hinge, this would work, but for these ones that are totally broken, you need to do this repair first, and then this. Okay, so I attach it first to this page. It makes it a little bit easier. So I've got half of the sticker attached nice and straight, and then I line it up, make sure it's good and lined up, and then you just attach it. I need both hands to do that, so I'll pause. Okay, so I've reattached that now, and it mostly covers up the white, so you can't even see that repair. So now I just make sure it's nice and firmly attached, put it there, and now we have a hymn book that's super, super secure. No more broken hinge, and it can be used for several more years. The reason we're doing hymn book repairs is because these are going to be replaced in a few years, and we didn't need to buy new ones. We want to make these ones last for a few more years before the new ones come out. So, and it's inexpensive. Like I said, the tools you need are this PVA glue, a paintbrush, wax paper, scissors, rubber bands, cardstock, and a sewing machine to do this hinge repair piece, and then an X-Acto knife or a a box cutter. So, and that's it. That's all you need. So, and then these hymn book repair kit stickers if you're using this hymn book. If not, you can use a tape, a good high quality tape that doesn't yellow. So, and I have some tape that I would recommend. It's if you don't use these stickers, which are specifically made for this repair, this is really good. I've used this before. It's linen hinging tape, made by the same company that makes this glue, the Line Co. And it is totally archival quality, so, and safe to use, and it's super easy. So if you have a book that needs something other than this hymn book sticker. So it's just a roll of tape, and it's linen, and it peels, the back peels off, and you just stick it on. You would have to fold it in half and create that crease, but it's good. And then I also wanted to let you know that in about an hour, I did 12 repairs of the single hinge repairs. So there are some hymn books that have both the back and the front hinge broken, and that will be a little bit tricky, but we can make it work. And I'll do some other videos to show you the other repairs soon. Okay, here's the next kind of repair. This is called a detaching end sheet. This sheet right here is becoming detached right here on the cover. So all we have to do for this is get a little paintbrush and a little bit of the PVA glue and paint it inside of there. So I'll show you in just a second. Okay, so I've got my glue on my paintbrush, and I'm just sticking it in here, just under the sheet, this sheet. You don't want it to go on the spine in here, but underneath this sheet. And I'm going down as far as I can with this paintbrush. And then I'm going to press down and squeeze out any excess glue, wipe that off. And you can put a piece of wax paper right there and then close it. Just put it right there and close it, and then let it dry overnight. That one's super easy. So a lot of those are the problem, so you can knock out a lot that way if you want to do this. Here's another repair. See this? Everything is intact with this book. This is just starting to wear enough where it's just beginning to break. And so all we're going to do is take one of these hymn book repair kit stickers that the church distribution sells. And they're kind of pricey, but you can always give them to your library, any leftovers. And we're just going to peel it and stick it right here. And one trick I've found is to fold it in half before you peel it off of here, and then you can place the corner in right here first, and then spread it from the inside out on both sides, and that helps it get nice and even. They're very, very sticky, so I'll show you here what it looks like. Okay, so I've stuck it in there, the sticker, the inside edge, and now I'm going to push it down so that from the center to the outside. Okay, and I do that. The bottom first is easier to get it nice and straight, so push down in the middle and then work your way out, and then you do the same thing for the top. Push it down in the middle and then work your way out, and then close it. Give it a good pressing, and then I just put it in the pile, put some other hymn books on top of it, and let it sit, and it'll be perfect after that. Okay, almost second to last repair. Here, there's some hymn books that are pretty sad, and the book block is totally disconnected from this. So the first step is we need to remove the end pages, and all I'll do is I'm going to take a very nice sharp box cutter. You can use an X-Acto knife, and you're going to just slice this all the way down right on the edge here on both sides. Okay, so I've removed the end sheet at the front. Whoops. Yeah, it would be like this, and this end sheet on the back. So we've got both those removed. We'll put those aside. We're going to use those later, reattach those later. And this piece should also come out clean. If it doesn't, you can just very carefully cut it. You don't want to cut this at all, the spine at all, though this one is pretty sad. We'll do an outer repair on this. That'll be the last repair I do. So what we're going to do next is we're going to put the actual cover, we're going to put that to the side, and we're going to put glue on this and reattach it to this. That's the book block. So that's the first step. We're going to put glue, and again, it's this PVA glue, and you want to be pretty generous here because this is an important piece, this to hold together the repair that we're going to do. So simply, and I use a scrap piece of paper here, just get that on there. It does dry quick, and it is very sticky glue. Okay, so I've added the glue, and I'm simply going to put this in place so it's flush, and then I'm going to put some rubber bands around it. Make sure it's nice and in place. Then you're going to just put some rubber bands around it to keep it in place. And let that dry overnight if possible. And then we'll come back and attach it to the cover. When you're doing this, while you're waiting for this to dry, you can look and see if these end sheets are attached here, and these are very loose on the big space. So I'm just going to put some glue here and let this dry while this is drying, and then I'll show you how to reattach it. But you want to make sure and check that because before we reattach it all. Okay, so this has been glued. We're doing a double hinge repair. The cover is completely off, and this was off as well, but we glued that back on, and now we're ready to attach it to the cover. So we're taking these pieces just like we did with the single hinge, broken hinge repair, and all it is 2 pieces of cardstock. These ones are 2 inches by 8.5 inches, and so a straight stitch all the way down the middle to attach them together. I have cut these ones because I'm doing this one. These hymnos are a little bit thinner than the English version, and so these are about an inch by, probably a little bit bigger than an inch by 8.5. So, and once again, you just need to fold them so they hinge at the seam, and you have these four parts. And what we're going to do is we're going to put glue on 2 of the parts, and we're just going to paint some glue on there. Get some more glue. Again, it's this pH neutral PVA glue by Lineco. And I'm using this paintbrush just to paint it on, and I'm using a scrap piece of paper. Actually, this is a piece of freezer paper, but it can be any scrap paper. Okay, so I've got this now glued on 2 sides, and I am simply going to line up the hinge with where the hinge should be, glue this part down on the spine, and this part down on the front of the book. So and make sure it's nice and tight, right on the hinge, and more or less centered. The size isn't an exact science. It doesn't have to be the 8.5 inches, but I just felt like that was simpler since that's what the width of the cardstock is, and it works just fine. So we're gonna let that dry for a minute, and then we're gonna do the exact same thing on this side. The only thing that you need to know is that you don't want this other flap You don't want to glue on top of this flap. You want to glue right on top of the flap you glued previously. So we're going to do this again. We're going to put glue on right here, and we're going to glue it right here and right here. All right, so I just put glue on these two sides here, and I'm going to attach this again to the back side now, the back hinge, and just two of the sides of this piece have glue on them. So there, we're gonna glue it down nice and sturdy, both on the back and the spine, get it nice and solid. So so you should have two pieces, two flaps here on the front, and the back, and two flaps on the back, so the front. So it should look like this. And now all you're gonna do is you're gonna fold this piece down and this piece down towards the spine. So those will stay loose. And then we're gonna glue, let's see, let's make sure I have this the right way. We're going to glue this piece onto the front cover. But first, we're going to take a piece of wax paper. I'm gonna trim this one a little bit, so it's thin enough to put down in the spines. Oops. So nothing sticks to the spine. So we're gonna go ahead and lay that in there. And we're gonna line up the book, make sure it's in all around every edge, and make sure it's the right direction. That's never good. So we're going to get some glue here. I need another piece of scrap paper. I like to stick the scrap paper underneath this side while I put glue onto not the inside, the outside of this flap. Okay. Okay, so I've got the glue on here. I'm going to remove my scrap paper, and I'm going to replace it with a piece of wax paper right there. And now I'm going to make sure this flap is down at the spine. And my other piece of wax paper is in place, and we are going to attach this just like this. And we're going to close it, push down real well, and then again we're going to make sure there are no bumps and it's nice and smooth. So, and then we're going to keep our wax paper in place, close it, and turn it over. Now we'll do the other side the exact same way. So let's get our scrap paper here. So this flap is up, this flap is down, and this is the flap from the front side. So there's a lot of flaps here, but you want this flap that's attached closest to the book block. Okay, so my scrap paper's down, I'm gluing this side because again it's going to attach this way to the back cover. Okay, I'm going to remove my scrap paper again, get another piece of wax paper, put that down like this. Make sure my flaps on the spine are nice and folded down, and then we're going to attach this and close it. Make sure this one's real sad. We'll repair the outside in a little bit in the next repairs. Make sure it's on there real well. You can see we've got some excess glue here, so I need to wipe that off. But that's one reason why we have the wax paper, so that it doesn't stick, and you want that right like that. And then I will put some rubber bands on this. You just do maybe 3, one in the middle, and then let that dry. And then we will reattach these pages once that's dry, and I'll just leave those like this so that we have that with it. Okay, this is a continuation of a double spine hinge, excuse me, a double hinge repair. So we let it glue overnight. I'm going to take off the rubber bands and remove the wax paper. So see, our repair is nice and sturdy and dry. And we're going to take that and then remove the piece from the spine as well. Now all we're going to do is put these back into place. And this one is a hymnos. So the pages are actually a little bit different in the Spanish versus the English one. So there's one difference that I'll show you. But all you're going to need is, you need the front cover again, and you want to trim this off so it can be nice and flat if you have any folded or excess stuff there. So I'm going to trim that, and then we're going to get our stickers that come with this. That's what this hymn book repair kit is. It is simply these stickers. We're going to use that to put these back in. And again, you want to fold the sticker before you peel it because it's just easier. Okay, and now see, I put it right, the folded crease right on the hinge, the new hinge, and just on this one side. So we're gonna go from the inside out, and that makes it nice and sturdy. And then all we're gonna do is line up this page, make sure the top and the bottom are nice and flush with the edges of the book. And then we're gonna do the same. Middle to outside, middle to outside. And there is the final part of that hinge repair. And we will just do the same thing to the back. Now, the reason why I said there are some differences is in the English version, let me pull one out. Okay, so this is the English version. You see the final page here is an actual first lines and title page. So you have to be really careful when you do this back hinge repair to make sure that this piece is short enough so that it doesn't cover up those pages. I mean, those page numbers. So that's the only difference. So I'm going to go ahead and put this sticker on the back hinge and show you what it looks like when I'm done. Okay, so there, this is done. I did the same thing to the back. So we have our repair, you can see right here, but it is super sturdy and no one will probably ever even notice. And that is that for now. One more repair, and that will be the spine, how to repair the spine. Here's another kind of repair. You see how this is starting to break away here. All you see the whole book here. All you have to do here is get a little glue. Again, this PVA pH neutral glue and your paintbrush, and paint very carefully some glue right there all the way down, and then get a piece of wax paper and squish it all, hold it all together, and then I like to put rubber bands around it like this, and then I sit it on its back or on its side, whichever I feel like would work the best. Okay, I think this is probably the most sought after repair, is when the spine is totally worn out. So if there are other repairs, do those first. All the other interior repairs, the hinge is broken, you need to do that repair first before, this is the very last repair to do on it. And so basically what you need is to make this match as close as possible, and this is the closest color I could get to match this hymn book, this is called buckram, Bruckham. Maybe it's not CK, maybe it's just K, but it's buckram. Yeah, it is CK. It's Buckram. And it's used for bookbinding and in this case book repair. It's a stiff fabric. I found it at Hobby Lobby and Joann's, and it's pretty cheap, much cheaper at Hobby Lobby than Joann's. It was on sale, it was like $1.75 a yard, and not on sale it was like $2.99 a yard or something like that. So anyways, this is the base, and then you need to find fabric, just cotton. This is Quilters, 100% cotton Quilters fabric that matches whatever you're trying to bind, repair, as close as you can match. So you do not want a heavy weight. You want it to be, you know, just basic Quilters solid fabric. And this was real inexpensive as well at Hobby Lobby. And I bought, my plan was to do 40 spine repairs like this. So, and I bought 4 yards of the buckram and 2 3/4 yard of this fabric. And I don't think I'm actually going to need to do quite that many, but just to give you a gauge. And so what we're going to do is we're going to use some adhesive spray to spray on the buckram, and then we're going to put this on here. And I would not recommend using the book glue that I've been using for all the repairs, because you can see it kind of bubbles, and you can see the glue through it. It just is hard to get it even. The spray works much better, and that's what I did with this, and it looks really nice and clean. So what I've done is I've laid out my buckram here, and I'm gonna do it outside, but I'm gonna spray the buckram, not the cotton fabric, spray the buckram and then lay this on here and get it nice and smooth. It probably would be a good idea to iron your cotton fabric first, so there's no creases in it, and then we'll move on from there. And I should mention that this buckram is 20 inches wide, and the Quilters fabric, which is pretty much generically consistent, this one's 44 inches, but they sometimes are 45, but this is 44 inches wide. And so I cut it in half lengthwise, basically to match it's got some overlap, obviously, but I just cut it in half long ways to fit over the buckram. So this is the spray adhesive I'm using for this project, and I'm just going to do a section at a time here outside. Just keep the bugs off and make sure you're not doing it directly on dirt. Okay, so after you have your buckram and your fabric together and dry, you're going to cut it into pieces. This one for this hymn book is 11 by 4. And what you're going to do is you're going to take your hymn book that needs a repair, and you're going a new spine cover, and you're just going to center it from top to bottom and side to side, and you're going to trace that spine onto the buckram side with pencil. So, and I used a rotary cutter and a cutting board to cut these out into these pieces, which is just a real simple way. You don't have to. You can use scissors and a ruler, and you can write on this side very easily. Okay, so I've done this. Now next I'm going to make some cuts so that we can fold these ends over. Just cut it right here and right here, and then you're going to do some triangle cuts, some angled cuts as well, so that we can fold these pieces in. And you're going to do that on the top and the bottom, both. So it will look like this, and then I like to trim this as well, because we're going to tuck that in as well. So it should look like this on both sides. Okay, now so I put glue all the way down the spine, all the way top to bottom, and on the right hand side. You don't have to do the right hand side at the same time. I just feel like it saves a little bit of time. So you're going to carefully put this on here, line that up, and again I'm using the PVA Lineco bookbinding glue, and I'm going to just press that on there nice and firmly, and remove your scrap paper underneath because you don't want to get the glue on the outside if you can help it. Okay, so now I've got this attached here at the spine. I'm going to run my finger down the hinge here on the outside, and in this crease, make sure you can use a boning tool if you have one. I don't. And then I'm going to just gently press the rest of this on there. And do this one more time. And then we're going to open it up, and we're going to put this in here nice and flat, and this side as well, same. And then we're going to very carefully open this up so we can fold this inside here, and you just want to get that nice and flat in there. You're going to do the same thing on this side. You open it up, and this side it's actually missing that, so you're just gonna get it nice and even there. And now I will repeat and do the same thing on this side, put glue on and fold this over and that over, and then I'll show you the next step. Okay, now we've got this on here all the way. You may want to go and trim any little frays of fabric and wipe off any excess of glue here. It will dry clear, and that's fine, so that's okay. I'm going to take some wax paper and place it in here so that any excess on this side doesn't stick the pages together. And then I'm just going to close it here and put some rubber bands on it to keep it nice, and it should be fine. You probably could get away with not using the rubber bands, but I just like to keep it all in place. And then I'm going to put it in a spot to dry overnight, and then it should be good to go.